Once again, I invite Dr. Subbo for this keynote session in the afternoon. Let me introduce Dr. Subbo. He is professor and working as Dean of School of Computing, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. He is having BE in Computer Science and Engineering from University of Madras and Masters of Science in Engineering in AI Robotics from School of Electrical and Electronics Engineering from University Science Malaysia, Penang, Malaysia. He is PhD in IT and Communication Engineering from Anna University, Madras in 2009. He is having more than 30 years of teaching experience in India and abroad as well. He has more than 100 publications to his credentials in international and national journals and conferences. He has guided, mentored more than 50 masters and more than 10 PhD research scholars. He has organized 27 webinars and he has been invited worldwide for different webinar and different training program. He is a recipient of Indira Gandhi Excellence Award, International Business Council Award, Outstanding Educator and Scholar Award, then India Best Research Supervisor Award, then India Best NSS Unit Award by Anna University, South Indian Achiever Award, and there are so many awards to his credentials. He is also a recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award by Bestow Edurux International. He is having fellowship from IIT and he is member of IET. His research area includes wireless sensor network, robotics, Internet of Things, and wireless communication. Dear sir, we are really pleased and we are very fortunate that you are with us. And I hope the participants who are attending this conference, particularly to this track, will be benefited from your experience, your words of wisdom. So, we, on behalf of Amity University, Rajasthan, Jaipur, welcome you, sir, for this auspicious occasion and request you to start your speech on your topic.
It's an immense pleasure to present keynote address on edge computing, the new paradigm in IoT open source challenges. In this international conference on global entrepreneurship trends and empowerment through innovation in Amity University, Rajasthan. I would like to congratulate and appreciate the delegates, those who are going to present this conference. And also, it's a great pleasure for me to thank Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Pro Chancellors, all the school deans, and especially Dr. Manju for giving me opportunity to share my knowledge through this conference. Thank you. Okay, well, so let me start my presentation with the chapters which I have given here, introduction and overview, and architecture of IoT with edge computing, and taxonomy of IoT-based edge computing, application of IoT-based edge computing, then some use cases, and finally, I'll just focus on open research challenges. Okay, well, so we are actually entering a new era of computing technology that's called Internet of Things. So this IoT is a sort of universal global neural networks. So in the cloud, which connects various things. So the IoT is a intelligently connected device and systems. So which comprised of smart machines interacting and communicating. So with the other machines and the environments, objects and infrastructures and the radio frequency identification, that's called RFID, and sensor networks technology. So that will rise to meet these new challenges. So as a result, what happened here, the enormous amount of data are being generated, stored, and the data is being processed into useful action that can command and control. Just control the things to make our lives much easier and safer. So, and also to reduce our impact on the environment. So here, some recent research efforts are investigating on how to effectively exploit the capabilities at the edge of the networks to support the IoT and its requirements. So let us focus on here edge computing. So in edge computing, the massive data generated by different types of IoT devices can be processed at the network edge rather than transmitting them to the centralized cloud infrastructure. Because when we just consider the cloud infrastructures, we need more bandwidth as well as the energy consumption concern. So edge computing can provide service with a faster response and greater quality. So in comparison with the cloud computing, and when edge computing is more suitable to be integrated with the IoT that's provide efficient and secure services for a large number of end users. So, and the edge computing based architectures can be considered for the future IoT infrastructure. Okay, well, so now here you can see the application that require autonomy. So here, just I have taken here Industry 4.0. So start from Industry 1.0. That's the first Industry 1.0 that was developed in 1784. They have used the steam power and water power for product by deliver the product and manufacture the products. In 2.0, Industry 2.0, in 1870, they have used electricity for mass production. And in 1969, that's the Industry 3.0, they have used the lot of robotics and all the machines, intelligent machines, for do the automation and pick and place operation using the computer. And fourth, today we are using the 4.0, Industry 4.0. They're using artificial intelligence based robot, which is going to develop a lot of product and design and develop a lot of product in the industries. So self-driving car is ready now. So these are the applications that require autonomy. And latency, latency is the most important nowadays, because that can be reason for failure. Especially this is more suitable for the healthcare sector as well as the financial transactions. So latency is simply another word for the network communication delay. The time it takes to receive a response after the information is sent over the network. So here, edge computing promises to kill the lag time, that is the delay time. So you might experience while playing, when you are playing the video games, and also when holding a video conference call on your cell phones. So we can easily feel that. And during the current COVID-19 crisis, the importance of low latency. Low latency is actually particularly in telepresence systems helping healthcare, and also Friendliner become more apparent than ever. So for telehealth to be completely effective, because doctors must be able to diagnose, treat and monitor their patients remotely in real time to give the patients best chance at the full recovery and save countries' lives. Because see now, especially the pandemic period, the patients are giving treatment for the. The doctors can easily monitor the patients and give the treatment remotely. It is possible, especially when we are going for IoT and edge computing technologies. And then applications that require significant bandwidth. Of course, so bandwidth, because when we send the information from one place to other place, we need more bandwidth. So increased use of cloud and networking results is high bandwidth consumption. Yeah, when we compare edge computing as well as in cloud computing, so we need more bandwidth for cloud computing. So that's what it's a high bandwidth consumption. That's leading to high energy usage. So if it is high energy usage, then we have to focus on cost effective. These issues is prevalent. So not just the video streaming services, but across a variety of applications that actively use networks and data centers. So edge computing could tackle this by reducing the network loads and optimizing energy. So when the network load is increased, then there will be a congestion occur. So these are the problems when we go for the cloud computing. So that's what we can just reduce it. So energy used to compute and storage, as well as the enabling solutions that would help the entrepreneurship better monitor and manage their energy consumption. And what does our market says? Okay, well, so now 81% increase in revenue of edge computing by 2018 end, especially the North American, they have got the 31% increase in their revenue, as well as in Europe, they have got 35% increased revenue in their country. It's a biggest jump. Then next one is here, 72%, the average anticipated annual revenue growth will be, for IoT edge vendors by 2018 end. So what is the edge computing? People are talking about edge computing like that. So what does mean edge computing? So here, edge computing is optimization of cloud computing. It's nothing but it's an integration of cloud computing and IoT. That's called edge computing. So the edge computer is supposed to move close to the source where the data is generated. So in this, the cloud computing is a centralized networks, but edge computing is a decentralized networks. There are so many advantages when we go for the edge computing. So let me explain clearly one by one. Okay, so why do we need edge computing? You can see the bar chart in 2015 that 570 million devices are connected. Similarly, from 2016, 984, 2017, 1,593, and 2020, you can see that 5,635 million devices are connected. So what is the use? What is the advantage of going for the edge computing? So reduce the amount of data transmitted and stored in the cloud. Yeah, because let us tell you one thing here, client and server technology. The client will be located at somewhere else, maybe few 1,000 kilometers away from the server. So that it take much of data to transfer from client to server. That's a cloud server. So again, it come back to client. So when we go for the cloud edge computing, we can reduce the amount of data transmitted and also storing in cloud. Then reducing delay time in data transmission. So if it is nearby, when we just move the edge computing near to the source where the data are generated, we can reduce the lag time in data transmission, and also we can reduce the signal to noise ratio. Okay, well, so how about edge? What is the edge? It's highly depends on the use cases. Okay, for example, let us take the telecommunication. What is the edge there? It may be a cell phone or cell tower. Even similarly, in automotive example, it could be a car. In manufacturing sector, it could be a machine. And in the information technology field, say it could be a laptop. These are called the edges. How about edge devices? The device which produce the data is edge devices. So like machines and sensors, and also any device, any machines which is having internet connection, okay, which information is collected and delivered. So how about the edge gateways? Edge gateway, it's a buffer, it's a temporary storage device. So where edge computing processing is done. So you can see the diagram here, this particular diagram, edge is located between the cloud computing as well as the Internet of Things. So this edge computing moved closely. The edge computing allows data from Internet of Things device to be analyzed at the edge of the network before being sent to the center or the cloud. And what software they're using here? The FAT client. FAT client is a software that processes data in edge devices, which is opposite to the thin client, which hardly transfer data. And edge computing equipment. So devices like a sensor, machines that can be outfitted to work in edge computing environments by making the internet accessories. Then how about the mobile edge computing? It signifies the growth of the edge computing systems in telecommunications like a 5G scenario. Okay, let us see the architecture of the edge computing. There are 3-level edge computing architecture: mobile devices, edge server, and infrastructure-based cloud. So in this diagram, that illustrate the edge computing architecture in different levels, where the first level refers to the IoT devices. That's called mobile devices: smartphone, smartwatch, laptop, all other things. So that can communicate with each other remotely by the use of resource pooling technology. So before being transmitted to the edge servers. And the second level, say edge server. So what is the use of edge server here? That is the second level of architecture, is the edge server platform that can be an access point of the network's resources like storage and computation, then close to a demanding IoT client. That's what I said. These edge servers always closer to the device where the data is generating. So it's easy for a user to send the information, and also without any time delay. Then third level, that's refer the infrastructure-based cloud, where the main processing and computation on data occurs in all generated data by the IoT devices. Not only that's the sensors is stored and can be accessed virtually. Yeah, you can see in this diagram, there are a layered model of cloud edge-based IoT service delivery. So there are millions of smart IoT devices are connected to the thousands of edge gateways. So thousands of edge gateways are connected to the hundreds of cloud data centers. And the left direction, the left side, what do you call that? The figure says that you can see that factories are there, factory edge thermal power station is there, then human smart gadget, then smart cars, all are. So now the edge server are getting the information from the each and edge node very close, located very close, and getting the information from the edge node quickly. Then after that, it will transfer the information to the cloud. So that's what the edge node is supposed to move near to the edge server is just the edge devices. Okay, there are three, so mobile device and edge server. The mobile devices are, already, sensors and controllers. The devices are communicate with the server. This is actually called edge real-time data processing. There it takes place, processing takes place, and also real-time control, machine to machine, and also that is communicated with the cloud. Okay, so let us see now taxonomy of IoT-based edge computing. This is actually this platform through either such as wireless network technologies and computing nodes, computing paradigms, and service level objectives, major enables, data types, application, and attributes. So how about the network technology? So here IoT devices can communicate with edge computing platforms through either wireless networking technology. What are the wireless networking technology? That's a Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, 5G, Bluetooth, and Ethernet. So Ethernet is a type of what you call that? It's a wired technology, such as Ethernet is a wired technology. So these network technologies vary in terms of data rates, as well as transmission range and the number of supported devices. So wireless networks provides flexibility and mobility to users who execute their application on the edge server. So however, here wireless network technologies are not as reliable as wired technology. That's what we are using the Ethernet. And next, computing nodes, server, base station, and routers and vehicles. The computing nodes include server, base station, all everything. This use of these devices is specific to the computing paradigms. There's a computing paradigms, cloud computing, fog computing, then cloudlets, MEC, there's a mobile edge computing, mobile Hadoop and cloud, the hybrid counting. So here various computing paradigms are used in the IoT. So the cloud computing is a centralized computing, as I said earlier, infrastructure that aims to provide interruption-free access to powerful cloud server. So these server can rapidly process a large amount of data upon receipt from removed IoT devices and also send back to the results. So by contrast, edge computing is a decentralized computing, that platform. So that brings cloud computing capabilities near to the IoT devices. So that is called network edges. So as the important type of edge computing platform is a MEC, mobile edge computing, which bring cloud computing capabilities to the edge of the cellular network. So here computational and storage services in MEC are provided at the base station. And the cloudlet is another form of edge computing. So in which delay sensitive and computation intensive tasks from IoT devices are performed on a server deployed in local area network. So next here is service level objectives. It's a so we are already know that the latency will be minimized and also network management. Then how about the cost optimization? Yeah, of course, it's a deployment of an optimal number of nodes at appropriate position and significantly reduce the capital. And also optimal arrangements of edge nodes can minimize the operational cost. Then energy management. According to the study, 1 trillion IoT nodes need sensing platforms that support various applications using the power harvesting to ensure the scalability, and also it is possible to reduce the cost and avoid the frequency battery replacement also. And next, resource management. So resource management includes coordination of resources, even we can estimation of the available resources, then proper allocation of the workload. Next, data management. In the large number of the IoT devices at present expected to generate large amount of data. So that need to be managed in timely manner. So efficient and effective data management mechanisms are desirable in edge computing. And major enablers are here: networking technology, software development, kits, and something else. So these the driving forces behind the success of edge computing are different types of their technologies. Then data types. These data types can be broadly categorized based on the delay sensitivity and hard real-time data cannot tolerate. And application edge computing using IoT technologies so is applicable for smart home, healthcare, video surveillance, smart grid, smart cities, so on. And attributes are listed out here: low latency and proximity, location awareness, and dense geographical distribution, the network context awareness. Okay, well, so now let me just go to the application. So edge cloud IoT challenges in agriculture and how edge computing can solve them. So I have listed out here some problems, especially in security side. So what is the problem in security side? So when data is transferred, because as here I'm going to compare cloud computing with the edge computing. So cloud computing, I told you that client is located very far away from the server. So the client is supposed to transmit the data. Server is a cloud server. So the client who's supposed to transfer the data to the what do you call that here? Cloud computing. So when data is transferred back and forth between the device located in the field and the cloud, the violation is extremely high. Plus, each device or sensor in your IoT network can be potential point of the vulnerability. because the data is going to travel from very long away, maybe from 1,000 kilometers away, 1,000 miles away from what you call the incline. So there is a possible to hack the information by the intruders. So what is the solution? So the solution is here, edge computing helps you to minimize the risk of data violation or theft, as your data stays right where it was collected. That's what I said. The cloud edge computing is supposed to move nearer to the source where the data is generated. So in here, it's not possible. That means there is no chance of violation. Is the violation as well as is will be extremely low. That next, the speed, IoT edge computing use case in the agriculture is the speed. So collecting and transferring and analyzing data is a time-consuming task. So that's why some organization might be faced with the challenge of having to choose between the depth of insight source from data where it's created as well as where the process speed. This is especially true for remote agricultural device that is located in the field, anywhere it's a cultivation field. So the solution is here, edge computing eliminates these challenges by increasing network efficiency and speeding up the data processing. So each device in the network can analyze the data, whatever it collected, and can provide the immediate feedback. So what is the use of it? It's increasing the processing speed and also further depth of the insight. Next will be a cost. This is one of the major, because I told you already, in cloud computing, whenever we are sending a huge amount of data from client to server, cloud server, so we have to spend more money to transfer the bandwidth. There will be a high bandwidth. So when we go for the high bandwidth, so we have to spend more money for transaction from data from one place to other place. So cloud computing expenses typically depends on the amount of data generated by the things. Things are nothing but IoT devices that transfer through the network. So taking into account the number of devices used by the single smart agriculture system. Because especially the agricultural field, they'll deploy the sensor everywhere. So every node is supposed to collect the information from the environment. So what kind of environment? It's supposed to be like temperature and moisture level and climate changes, everything. It will collect the information and transmit the data to the cloud. So if it is located very far away, then it will take, we need more bandwidth. So more bandwidth, if we need more bandwidth, cost of cloud can be easily skyrocket. This is one of the problem. How to solve this problem? By using edge computing in agricultural, you don't have to crowd your storage with irrelevant and useless data, or even transfer it to the main database at all. As a result, what is the result? You can easily cut your cloud cost. So in terms of the both storage cost and also bandwidth. Okay, well, so now this is actually just there are dozens of use case examples of smart farming and agriculturals, from keeping track of climate changes and also monitoring the crop conditions to greenhouse automation, or even IoT enabled or end-to-end farm management solution. So as for the use cases, edge computing, when applied to the smart farming technology, the key opportunity lies within the so-called is called precision agriculture. So when using this particular approach, precision agricultural, the farmers rely on data to gain better control over the business and optimize the efficiency of their operation, and as a result, reduce the operation expenses. So here they have used their autonomous tractors and robotics machineries can run an autopilot. So this using this kind of what you call tractor, using computer vision and preloaded field data, AgriBots can calculate the most efficient path to cover the required area taking into account the type of the performed task. So number of vehicle currently in the field, it can easily recognize how many vehicles are currently in the field, the size of the implements. So plus they can reroute the automatically in case of an unexpected obstacles or stop completely. So for example, if there is any human or an animal in the way, so as a result, smart equipment can perform a wide range of tasks. So like watering a specific field area when needed, or even autonomously harvesting crops. Okay, this is another survey that, so one of the, so sensors implanted, that means if you go to any industry, any planet, any plant, agricultural field, so you can see that there will be deploying sensors. That sensor is supposed to just check the soil moisture level, if it is low or high. So if it is low, then it will automatically send the signal to the microcontroller. Microcontroller will switch on the motor, then water can just pass through the field. So if it is the moisture level is higher, then automatically switch off the motor. These are available. Sensors are implanted, and solenoid is automatically on. And how about the fertigation? Fertigation is a combination of irrigation as well as the fertilization. So when we just do this kind of technology operations, plant will be healthy, and 40 to 50% water can save, and 25% to 30 nutrient save. And another way is crop maturity. Here, the Israel and Europe collaboration project. I have just taken this survey from the one magazines, because the both countries has did one collaboration project. They have designed and developed the autonomous robot. So what is the role of the autonomous robot? It's supposed to move to the plant and just examine the fruit using the computer vision and check whether the fruit is ripe or not. If it is ripe, then pick the fruit and put it in the basket, and it will move to the other plant. So it will keep on doing such a kind of operations. So what is the advantage when we just implement the robot rather than the manpower? It takes only 25 seconds to pick the single fruit. So it can work 20 hours per day. But human beings, we can work up to 8 hours. Okay, so even in 8 hours, we have the break time, lunch time, and so many, because we'll work actually for 4 to 5 hours, or even 6 hours. But see, the robot, it can work 20 hours per day. And how about the agri-robot market will reach and $75 billion by 2025. And also marketing linkage. So we can easily go through the, we can go through where the, cotton, sugarcane areas, harvesting time, management, everything will come to know when we go for the IoT in smartphone. The price forecast is we can come to know about the price forecast. Then farm automations. So here, as in the case of agri-bots, edge computing will allow the farm or greenhouse to operate regardless of the connection to the main server, and also to make the decision locally. And so based on the data from the local servers, because it's not going to the cloud. So the processing is happening in edge node only. So this has the potential to improve the process reliability and reduce the waste to making agricultural. And disaster protection. So disaster protection is like, namely remote sensors can collect and analyze the data about change in the weather, and also the environment to predict the potential disaster, and also in case there are certain signs of dangers. So immediately notify the general control centers. So what is the result? As a result, farmer will be able to take timely pressure and measure the product, their crops, at least partial in case of the wildfire. Okay, now let's take the example of healthcare. Okay, telehealth. Here you can see from health, telehealth to infection control, how 5G edge computing and the Internet of Medical Things, IoMT, are transforming healthcare. So this 5G and edge computing technology can make routine care more accessible through telehealth tools. So now here, patients can connect over video with their healthcare providers for routine checkups. This is especially useful for people in rural and remote area. So you can see that you can use the headbands and sociometric badges and camera clips and smart watches, sensors embedded in the clothing. So these are the devices you can easily monitor the patient condition like pulse rate and blood oxygen level, sleep patterns, and more. Doctor can use this data to evaluate the patients on the spot. So this will be faster. For example, here, this is the wearable monitoring device. This is actually a faster and more flexible communications, because it's enabled by the video conferencing and also helps the patients connect with their doctors. So while connected wearable can transmit the health data directly to patient management system around the clock, because these data are very, very important, because there will be a lot of intruders who can easily hack the information. And one more thing, if it is not reached the doctor in time, it's a problem for the patient. So that's what I'm telling. If it is cloud computing, it's very difficult. When we go for the edge computing, it's a very easy, because there is no need to bother about the delay. The latency, more latency. So here it will maintain on the low latency, so it can easily reach the destination, as well as cost. We don't want the more bandwidth. So if it is more bandwidth, so we need more cost, as well as then the information which is going to theft by the intruders, that it will be not allowed in edge computing. The next is the blockchain power. So blockchain is here. The edge computing and the blockchain technology can help trace and verify the paramedical products as they travel along with the supply chain. And this is the Vitalashi, one of the device, how it works here. Actually, this device has created a system of Bluetooth enabled smart band that connects with the application. That app is in the cell phone. So this band is connected with the cell phone. These bands have automatic contract tracing features that record and alert professionals when encountering other at unsafe distance. And also it's a similar systems works to ensure the compliance with the hand washing by tracking users and the location and hand wash durations. Okay, this one is actually patient data transmission security, bioscience. Bioscience is the many practitioners, clinics, and hospitals are looking to technology solutions that help decentralize the medical administration systems. So what is the use of decentralization? And also it's allows medical professionals to spend more time with patients. So edge computing can help speed up the transfer of patient information. That is the most important. So hospital and medical centers can't afford to worry about the latency issues, because it's maintaining the low latency and network reliability, and also slow processing, and reliable high-speed access to information helps optimize workflow, and it takes decision making, and also saving the time and boosting revenue. So another example is bioscience, which offers an IoT-based mobile monitoring and telehealth application that can transfer the patient data from one end to other end, or otherwise it can transfer the data from an en route ambulance to the hospital. Then doctors can receive the updates and patient conditions and make decision accordingly. So ready to help from the moment the ambulance arrives. The next will be a Zigbox. Zingfox is known within the cyber security industry as an edge computing security. The next is surgery. Surgery is here, while the use of robotics in surgery is not new. So here IOMT, that is the Internet of Medical Technology here, things on edge technology combined with the AI, artificial intelligence can expand how these tools are used. And one example is in remote surgery. In remote surgery, high-speed 5G removes the latency issues and also allow doctors to operate in real time using video from outside of the operating rooms. In 2019, a surgical team in China remotely inserted a simulation device. That device is useful for the patient brain nearly 1,900 miles away. There is then diagnosis. This is one of the device. So these are reliable networks with plenty of bandwidth or critical for diagnosis. From imaging as well as the radiology to data analysis and patient information. So edge computing technology expands clinician ability to relay the high-end technology that utilize artificial intelligence and IOMT. These are to make the right diagnosis quickly. Okay, this is a use case taken mobile gaming. So usually what happened here, I have just taken a survey report from that. What they have explained, they carry out an experimental evaluation of mobile gaming using some prototype edge computing platform. So this use case is particularly meaningful given the given the currently available technology. So for this they have used the Neverball game. That's a Neverball game, Neverball 3. They have used Neverball game 3 as a open source 3D arcade game. So here what happened here, Neverball is a representative of a larger class of application, so that rely on rendering complex 3D environments, including virtual as well as the augmented reality. So moreover, due to its peculiar gameplay, it can be used as a fitness game. For instance, by employing the balance board. For example, in such a scenario, the end-to-end latency, because when we play the video game, so that when we just operate the cell phone, that information streaming, video streaming is moving from node to the cloud computing. So again, it will come back again. So it will take much time. So that's why this scenario, the end-to-end latency is extremely important. So if there is the latency high, you know what happened? We can't play the game. So it's supposed to go to the end cloud and come back again. So latency is extremely important, and the user needs very quick response from the server, because there will be if there is a good communication, then we can say that it's a good quality of experience. So here actually what happened here, in their scenario, they use mobile phone, that is called end device, that sends the relevant game input to the gaming server, which in turn renders the content and stream the video back to the end user. So in their evaluation, they carried out experiment by using the open source gaming. So they have considered three different server that is deployed in scenarios. You can see their mobile network edge, that is one server. Then another server is a CSA cloud, which is located in Finland. The another server, EC2, that one is located in Frankfurt data center. Another one is located in Ireland data center. So the second, so that's what, see, they have this local deployment at the network edge, and another one is a special purpose cloud computing infrastructure, and the third one is the commercial public cloud provider. These are the three networks. So the second one, you can see this the graph. How about the network delay? Now, network delay for the first one, because that node is located near to the source. It's using the two technologies like Wi-Fi and LTE. So the time delay, that means network delay, will be 20 milliseconds. When we implemented in the, the server, your mobile server is located near to the source of the system. That means the edge node. So when we compare with the others, so the others one is here. The second, consider the scenario instead consisting of special purpose cloud infrastructure, that is a CSA cloud. So it's a running OpenStack and located in Finland. So finally, the last scenario uses a commercial public cloud provider, that is called EC2. So in this case, they considered two geographical closest EC2 data center location, that is located in Frankfurt and Ireland. You can see the delay. Delay will be very high. So for the EC2, delay will be around 40 milliseconds. For using the Wi-Fi, when they're using the LTE, it takes 45 milliseconds. And the server which is located in EC2, I mean Ireland, so it takes 60 milliseconds when they use the Wi-Fi, and LTE, it takes more than 65 milliseconds. So the obtained result have shown that edge computing is necessary to enable the fast-paced interactive games. Although regional data centers allow to significantly reduce the network latency. So only hosting resource at the edge, that edge enables the satisfactory quality of experience gaming. And these are the open source challenges. The first one, heterogeneity. Heterogeneity is this is one of the major challenge, like computing platform. It's a computing platform can have different operating systems and hardware architectures, whereas communication technology can be heterogeneous with regard of data rate, transmission range, and bandwidth. So one of the challenge in edge computing is to develop the solution in software space that is portable across different environments. The next one is, because see, each and every devices, all the end devices are connected with the edge computing. So there will be, all are different. So heterogeneity is a different system. So it's supposed to, the edge computing is supposed to support all the devices, because each and every device is having different protocols, different structure. So that's supposed to be support. And next one, standard protocol and interface. That's what I said. Edge computing is an emerging technology in the IoT field. So in this heterogeneous environment, different devices and sensors are connected and communicated with each other. So that edge computing via the communications. So these devices have their own interface, thus demand specification communication protocols. And next, the third one is availability. So availability in the IoT-based edge computing environments includes hardware and softwares. So usually the availability comprises the three factors. So namely called mean time between failures, failure probability, and mean time to recovery. These are the areas. So ensuring that availability of the resources and the services for the growing number of IoT devices. And the last one is security and privacy. So edge computing act as a boon to cybersecurity, because any intruder can use the open data for illegal purposes. For example, if a home is connected to the IoT, then private data such as individual health data can be stolen. So in this case, how to support the service without harming privacy is a challenge. Okay, I have come to conclude about my presentation today. I hope that this session will be useful for all the delegates. Thank you for giving an opportunity to share my experience with you all. Thank you.